Hey guys, and welcome back to Hoosier Hardware, and today we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at eBay, and specifically we're going to be looking at graphics card pricing. Now, I did recently take a look at graphics cards, and unfortunately that video is sort of no longer applicable really whatsoever. So today we're going to look in early February, or rather mid-February-ish, 2021, just what the graphics card market is doing, at least on the used side of things, and it's not looking great. Now, before we do hop into the video, I do have to tell you that right now the graphics card market is just terrible. So in the immediate future, there's probably not going to be a ton of graphics card coverage from the channel. I'm going to be mostly focused on CPU coverage and some of the older CPUs that I have coming in, like 12-core X99 Xeons and a Ryzen 7 1700 if that thing ever shows up from AliExpress. But regardless, if you're interested in CPU testing and gaming with a focus on the CPUs and older generation hardware, then hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss anything. With that, let's hop over to eBay and take a look at just what the GPU market looks like, at least in the United States, right now here on like February, the 11th? Yeah, nailed it. February 11th, 2021. Hopefully you're in the future and this video is hilarious to you because hopefully in the future GPU prices are back to where they belong. So one of the things that we're all well aware of right now is graphics cards are pretty much not even really available whatsoever. So what we're going to be looking at are several of these used cards that I think are still good cards, even for gaming here in 2021. And we're just going to be sort of perusing around to see what we can find and for what prices. Now, obviously, I already have a GTX 1050 pulled up. I was just sort of doing a test setup here to get everything set with the screen capture and whatnot. And yeah, a GTX 1050. Not even necessarily TI, though. The ones that are on screen here listed here are TIs, but they are pretty expensive. So we're going to get started, not with the GTX 1050 Ti, but we're going to start with some of the older cards. And I'm going to go with a 780 Ti, and that's because it's a card that should be able to still run most modern games at acceptable frame rates. And what I like to do here with eBay, click Buy It Now, and sort by price. And this is just to give me a better feel of what cards are at least available readily. Now, once we scroll down, 780 Ti's are going for like $225 on the cheap end. Wow, okay. 300, these are 780 Ti's. Oh no, that's not good. Wow. Okay, so the GTX 780 Ti is quite expensive for what it is, so maybe now let's try something a little bit more modern. This is a card that I've recommended in the past, actually, in fact, in the recent past. We're going to start with a GTX 970 with the more modern-ish cards, though a 970 at this point is pretty long in the tooth. And what you have to be careful with when you're looking at any of these used cards, what I've been finding is some of these are sort of sketchy listings, like postings from people that have virtually no feedback, and that leads me to believe that they are likely scams. Basically, I actually had an RX 580 that I recently got refunded because it never shipped out. It was at a really good price. It was actually from an account that had some feedback, so I thought I was okay to go ahead and buy it, and yeah, ended up not showing up, so I did get refunded for that. This one would probably be good, and you know, it's a blower style card, but you could pick up a 970 for under $200, which is really sad because it wasn't long ago that these were like $100, if not cheaper. See what a 980 is doing on the market right now. And yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, where we have this listing with 3 on the feedback, and it may be a perfectly legit listing, but at the same time, it also might not be a perfectly legit listing, and I don't know if I'd be comfortable ordering that and then hoping it showed up and hoping it was exactly what it said it was. But it looks like most of these 980s are over the $200 pricing. If we go down here to sold, we can see that we have some of these 980. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's December. That would explain why. Let's go to ended recently and see. Oh my goodness. So if we go back here, 980s used to go for under $100 in even as recently as like a month ago, and now if we fast forward here, and they are going for $265, $275, which I guess is a really good endorsement for if you are somebody that has one of these cards. you may want to go ahead and try to sell it now while you can still get some really good money for a card that should not be demanding this type of money at this point in its life cycle. So a card that I've had my eye on for a little bit now have been the GTX 1060s, but the 3GB version instead of the 6GB version. Now, the 3GB version, it's not nearly as good a card as the 6GB version. It hasn't aged very well compared to the 6GB version, but at the same time, it's much more affordable right now, mostly I think because it's just much less desirable to miners specifically. It seems like this is a card that miners really can't make much use of compared to the 6GB version. So if we look at these 3GB versions, it looks like, you're going to be paying around $200 for one of these as well. The 1070s are continuously going up. Holy cow. So I looked like a week ago and they were at about $300. And now they're looking like they're going more like $400. Let's see where they've been selling at recently. Literally $400 GPU. 1070. Granted, this one's a TI, but this one's a 1070. So these are going for $400. Wow. Let's switch gears. Let's go for a 1660. Actually, you know what? This is overly depressing. I'm going to switch over to a 1650. So this one just sold today as of the recording of this, and this is actually a really good price right now for a 1650 Super. To the point where if the seller gets what's being advertised here, then they did exceptionally well because the 1650 Super right now should be going for quite a bit more than that. And if this is the card that actually gets shipped and functions as it should, then whoever got their hands on this card just did an excellent job. And it would appear that whoever sold this card probably should have looked into it a little bit better, because that price is much below what I think I'm used to seeing from most of these right now. Especially being a Super. Now, a regular 1650, then maybe, but even these other 1650s are going for way more than that, like an extra $100 at least more than that. And it looks like some of these 1650s are even going close to $300. But there are several of these that have been sold under $200. So a 1650 might be something that you sort of look into. Let's get rid of the sold listing. Let's go over to the shipping here. Yeah, if you're looking for one that's just readily available at the moment of filming, it looks like about the cheapest you can do is right at $200. So whoever got that 1650 Super that I pointed out earlier just did a fantastic job if that's the card that shows up. Now let's go back to the 1660. Okay, everything's set there, and buy it nows are pretty much $300, $400, more close to $400. There's a few of them under 400, but it looks like a lot of these are going off for more like 400 as opposed to 300, to the point where this actually becomes okay. This one is already ended. Let me see if it has an original listing here. Yeah, feedback looks fine. So if this card actually works, then again, good deal. Whoever got this card got what were paid rather well below market value for a card like that. So good job, buyer. Let's try a 2060 now. Oh, that's not a GTX, that's an RTX. We're up to RTX cards now. So these RTX 2060s are $500. Oh my gosh. These are all so expensive. Everything is just terrible right now. Oof. Not a good deal. Don't pay $500 for an RTX 2060. Just don't. Ironically enough, if you ignore the 3000 series, the RTX 2080 Ti's actually don't look like they're terribly priced relative to what MSRP was up until that RTX 3000 series came out. These are actually not completely unreasonable prices to be paying for a 2080 Ti. It's higher for used cards than I'd want to pay, but at the same time, considering a GPU shortage, it's not completely outrageous. See if there's any 3060 Ti's out here. Let's just say I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is not a real. Yeah. eBay already took it down. It's not a real listing. It's a scam listing, I'm sure. So again, beware of those when you're perusing eBay. These are much more what I would expect. $1,000 for a 3060 Ti, completely within the realm of my expectations. Not exactly what I want to be paying for a card like this, but definitely within the realm of my normal expectations. The last thing I want to take a look at is, give me some AMD cards. Let's go 580, and we're going to pick the 8 gig versions. And pricing is there. This, I don't for a second believe that this is a real, 4 gigs, that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, actually, that might be about valid. 4 gigabyte card, a little over $200. This is a card that you would expect to pay like $90 for about a year ago. And some of these other, again, 4 gigabyte card listed at $300, but moving down here, we have some of these 8 gig versions for over $300. These 8 gig RX 580s are desirable, to say the least, for mining, so it's unsurprising to see them pretty inflated. Let's check out the, 5600 XT. See how these cards are doing. $600 range if you're wanting to buy one now on eBay. Man, just way overpriced. How about a 5700 XT? Oh man, 750. So we're getting into pricing of like what 3080 pricing is if you can find one of those new. And that's the thing, like a card like this card's cooler isn't really very good. Like I wouldn't want that card in my system. It's gotta be loud, like really loud. For kicks, we'll go 6800 XT and then we'll go 6900 XT just because. So we have a picture of a 3080 alongside a 6800 XT apparently. Yeah, I don't know if this is a real listing. The feedback there is not exactly bringing me optimism for it, but 950, 1200. This is the 6800 XT, so sure. 6900 XT. What are they going for? Hit me with it. $1,600, so $3090 money. Now, I'll be right out there with it. If you're gonna pay $1,500, $1,600, you may as well just get the 3090 instead of the 6900 XT because you're getting more VRAM, you're getting better ray tracing implementation. It's probably the way to go in most use case scenarios, unless you are embedded in AMD's ecosystem. Maybe you have like the FreeSync monitor setup going, in which case maybe the 6900 XT still makes some sense to you. But for the most part, if you're gonna pay that much, you may as well go with an Nvidia card versus an AMD card. I feel like the 3090 is a better deal if we're talking about equal pricing. Now, if you're talking about getting one at MSRP or near MSRP, then the 6900 XT makes a lot more sense if you can get it for $1,000, $1,100, or even $1,200. But when we get up into this pricing range where we're talking about, more than the MSRP of a 3090, then you may as well just hold out at that point for a 3090 unless you are truly, truly getting desperate for one of these cards. But that's sort of just running through several different GPUs. There's really not much available right now. So this is what's available. And right now here on, February 10th, 2021, hopefully you're looking back at this, you're watching this in the future and you're seeing this going, well, the market really was terrible back then, but right now, if you are looking to buy a GPU here at the beginning of 2021, it is not a good market. At this point, I don't even have recommendations for if you are somebody looking for a GPU at all. My recommendation is to wait because whatever you buy, unless you just get very lucky with a local deal, that 1650 Super, I would actually happily pay that much for that 1650 Super right now, but unless you're getting one of those lucky deals, then you're almost certainly way overpaying. I will give you the heads up that when some places have stock, and Best Buy is the one that comes to mind because I feel like when I'm on Best Buy's site, when they're dropping stock, you actually have a chance of picking up a new card. The other day, I was on Best Buy's website when they were dropping new cards in. It seems like they drop AMD cards, Nvidia cards, and Ryzen CPUs all sort of in the same period of time, and they slowly release stock, hoping, I think, to get some of that stock into the hands of individual customers and not having them all purchased up by bots. And their system that they use is probably a little bit better than elsewhere, where you click add to cart and then you have to wait a little while. Once stock is available, you have to actually click add to cart again. And at that point, you might be able to get through the checkout process and get curbside pickup for something. That's actually how I got my RTX 3090, is through Best Buy's website. So my recommendation in the mornings, just kind of go to these websites that you frequently buy PC hardware from and check to see if they have stock. If they do, you might be able to get in line or have an opportunity to buy something. But if you're buying even on the used market at this point, there's no good recommendation other than just try to get a new card those rare times that they drop. If you're near a micro center or something like that, maybe you go there and get into a physical line, and with a little bit of luck, you might be able to score a new card. But for the most part, the GPU market is not good right now. I cannot recommend that you do anything regarding purchasing GPUs until the market at least cools down a little bit, because you're really going to be overpaying for whatever it is that you purchase. So there is really not much else to say. Right now, the GPU market, at least in the United States, is completely wrecked, but I do want to hear from you guys, especially anyone out there that may have actually found a deal. Let us know in those comments down below what you found, what price, were you successful in a GPU hunt around these very difficult times to find a GPU. Otherwise, if you like the video, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very helpful for the channel. You can follow me both on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. And as always, I'll let YouTube queue up a couple more videos from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.